Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. On today's show, Lucas and I are going to sit and talk about the abrupt retirement of Vince McMahon from the WWE over the weekend, why we think he retired, where we think the company's going to go next. A lot of big stuff coming out of the world of professional wrestling. Also, big news, San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend. Primarily the big story coming out of that was Marvel dropped a bunch of big news regarding Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the MCU. Also got the first footage of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. We're going to dive into some of that as well. So after the guitar riff, the Couch Potato Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Couch Potato Podcast. I'm Russ, and with me, usually, he's joining me again this week, Lucas. Lucas, how's it going, man?
Occasionally, sometimes.
Occasionally, sometimes here, more often than not, co-host Lucas.
I'm doing pretty good. Still got my COVID cough, but other than that, I'm good.
Oh, yeah, that stuff lingers for a while. I know I still battle from the fatigue a little bit.
Yeah, I have short-term memory loss, so that's some hardcore fun right there.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I haven't dealt with that. Who are you again?
Where am I?
Who am I? Where am I here?
What is this?
What is this thing you're looking at me on this screen? This technology, newfangled stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I deal with it sometimes. It seems to get better, but there's days where it's like today, I'm just like kind of like I could go to bed right now and just be fucking totally cool with it. But we can't. We've got so much shit to talk about today. We
do. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. A lot of unexpected and exciting things to talk about.
Yeah, like it seems like right now, the dog days of summer, there's really not a lot going on in the sports world. Summer movie season's kind of winding down only as of Monday night, July 25th. There's only one big movie left until we hit a pretty dry spell at the movies coming up. We do have football coming up at the end of August, so we've got that. But I don't know. It seems like the podcasting gods have like shined down upon us, because every time I struggle to find something to talk to you about this on like an episode. Although, don't worry, we've got plenty of shit to talk about. And this week we were blessed with two stories. Which one should we lead off with first?
Let's talk about the wrestling first.
Okay. The biggest story probably, God, I don't know. This might be the biggest story ever in professional wrestling happened over the weekend. Vince McMahon, the chairman, CEO, pretty much the founder, the godfather of wrestling and the WWE, just out of the blue retired on Friday.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a text about it, and I'm like, what the fuck? This can't be right.
Yeah, I was sitting at work, and Friday's usually like I'm the only one in the office, but I got that alert on my phone. I was like, what the fuck is this? I thought it wasn't even real, because I thought for sure that Vince McMahon would be the person that I almost expected him to die in Gorilla, which for those of you who don't know, Gorilla is the backstage area right before you go out to the arena. I thought for sure he was going to die running the company.
Yeah, I did too. It's very shocking because a couple weeks ago on this podcast, which you can find on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, God damn it, dude! Thank you for the cheap plug. I don't even have to do it this week. See, we're back in. It's like an old pair of shoes, man. It's like Mr. Rogers' shoes.
We talked about how Vince would probably get away with all this stuff, and I'm assuming that something worse is coming out or something, and it's just piling on because he called it quits, which, like you said, I thought he was going to die running the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I thought the timing was very strange considering SummerSlam is this upcoming Saturday. SummerSlam is traditionally the WWE's second biggest show of the year behind WrestleMania. So, I mean, if he was going to retire, I don't understand why it wasn't, hey, effective at the end of the year, this is my last year, or at least after SummerSlam, but it's just like the week before your second biggest show, which I don't know if they're still struggling to sell tickets or not, but I mean, the reception I've seen for SummerSlam hasn't been that great.
Well, I mean, for all the good things that Vince McMahon did over the years, there's a lot of bad that he's done in recent years where it's just been the same match over and over again. And I don't know if he thinks that this is like Stone Cold and The Rock with what he has with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, but it's not. And people are tired of seeing it. They wanted something new. They could have had something new. I don't know. Maybe they could have done Cody Rhodes could have headlined if he had stayed healthy.
I was going to say, yeah, I think that might have been the play, but Cody tore his pectoral muscle. But, yeah, I just thought the timing of the whole thing was kind of strange. I don't know. Like, I wanted to get your pick your brain a little bit. Do you have any thoughts do you think he just decided that he didn't want to fight this investigation anymore and just decided, it's not worth my time? Or do you think that there's more that the WWE uncovered and it led to kind of hey, let's just retire so you can save some face here?
Well, I definitely think that they uncovered more than they let on. And I'm sure it'll come out eventually. Mm-hmm. And it won't be a good look. I told you that I think maybe he got somebody pregnant, and maybe he paid a woman to have an abortion. That would be a very, very big story, considering that him and his wife are very much on the anti-abortion side of things. Definitely his wife is. But that thought literally just crossed my mind, so I just thought about it. But that would be big enough for, especially in today's society, enough controversy to really affect the stock of WWE. And that's the biggest thing. If you disappoint your stockholders, that's when you start losing money. Now, I know he's the biggest stockholder, but he still depends on that publicly funded, trading to fuel his pockets. So if you have a scandal big enough, that big, such as abortion, then that could really do it.
Well, I don't know if it goes to that extreme, but I'm kind of with you though. I think that they're finding more and more of these cases that are piling up. And I just read a story shortly before we came on the air that the WWE is adjusting its earnings reports to compensate for the money that Vince paid out for these, hey, keep it quiet cases. And I'm just thinking, like, the more and more this comes out, the more and more is like, okay, well, we projected and we told people that we made this much.
Which we did, but then Vince was like, hey, bitch.
But then actually, after you take all this stuff out, it's actually this. And I don't know shit about fuck when it comes to the stock market, so I'm not going to sit here and try to, like, explain how this shit works. But I'm imagining that if you're reporting these annual figures, like, hey, in quarter one, we made $200 million, but then, like, oh, well, hey, there's all these, non-disclosure agreements that we had to pay out, and that was like an extra $50 million out of that. So you take $50 million out of the $100 million you made. I mean, that's a sizable chunk of change. And I'm sure that I would almost say skirts on being somewhat illegal. But like I said, I'm not a stockbroker. I only play one on TV, so I don't know exactly how that works. But I imagine that's not good legally or, like, I guess, perception-wise, that you're reporting some kind of income and then it's this. So
I would imagine that is probably illegal because that would affect the stock price. Mm. And when you play around with a stock price, that's illegal.
Right. We need to be friends with a financial advisor, somebody that knows something about that, and then have them come on just to explain that to us.
Well, I think we know one. I think we know Sir Joey Mitch.
Oh, he follows the Dave Ramsey school of thought. Just save as much money and don't spend anything at all.
Yeah, that is true. He is the tightwad I've ever seen with money.
I don't know. I'm starting to discover that I have people. I'm not going to name names. I'm discovering people that are very close to me in my life are extremely cheap. Like I use a phrase for cheapskates being Johnny Deep Pockets, where they keep reaching for their money and they can never find it because their pockets. That's all Bobby the Brain Heenanism. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that it's probably there's more of these non-disclosure agreements coming out, so they're losing more and more money. And I think it's just one of those things where I think it was, hey, step down, and we'll try to save this as much as we can. And he's at that age too where he could retire, and it doesn't look quite as bad as him getting ousted because he can't keep his dick in his pants. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was also big news today. I think you and I discussed quite extensively over the weekend. Well, first, I wasn't sure if Vince was just retiring as the chairman and CEO of the company or whether he was just walking away altogether. And I think it was Brian Alvarez or Dave Meltzer, one of the two, said that, no, he's done completely. And I know Bruce Pritchard, who has some of you that listen to us may know he has a podcast, Something to Wrestle With. Quite enjoyable if you're interested in old wrestling stuff. Give him a cheap plug, although I know he won't return the favor. But I know he was running creative for a little while, but news came out today that Triple H is taking that over.
Yeah, which we talked about, I believe it was yesterday, that it's a big deal to me because when I got back into wrestling for a little bit because of NXT, the original, not that stupid rebrand that they did that they pretty much ruined it all. And because Triple H really brought to the forefront women's wrestling. He likes tag team wrestling more than Vince did, so maybe we'll get to see good tag team wrestling. And just star power. He was able to create characters that are still on the show today, and have become legendary in their own right. So I'm pretty happy with the move. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to really, sink his claws in and completely take over and change up whatever. Because Vince, he's already planned out WrestleMania next year, or at least has an idea of what he was going to do. So Triple H is going to have to cycle through all that and figure out what he wants to keep and what he wants to change. So,
right. I'm very optimistic too about Triple H taking over. I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but I think out of the last 10 years, his reign over NXT is probably, at least out of the major promotions, probably the best wrestling promotion of the last 10 years.
Yeah,
I think the stuff they were doing was better than. I am a big fan of AEW right now. I really like what they're doing over there, but I think NXT during their prime run was better than what anything that AEW's done. Definitely better than it was the best WWE show by miles. Better than what Impact was doing. Better than what NWA was doing. It was can't miss television if you're a wrestling fan. So I'm very optimistic. I hope he gets people in place that know what they're doing. I think the WWE worked best when it was just a handful of people doing creative versus now. I don't know if you ever heard Jon Moxley, the current AEW World Champion, did an interview with Chris Jericho on Talk is Jericho. It was right before... No, it wasn't right before. It was right after he debuted in AEW. And he talked about the creative in WWE where it basically people are assigned writers, and it's almost like, okay, instead of getting bullet points, I know I've heard Steve Austin, when he's talked about doing promos, they give him bullet points like, okay, here's your map. We don't care how you get to A, B, C, and D, but just get to A, B, C, and D.
Right.
But now it's very monotonous where, okay, this is who you are. You need to say this verbatim. And I heard from him, and I've heard from other wrestlers that have been since left WWE. The process has really gone to shit. And I think that they need to get back to that. Just, okay, you're fighting this guy on this date. We don't care how you get to tell everybody you're fighting this guy on this date, but just get there. Have at it.
Well, another thing that I think affects it too is Vince was the head of creative. No matter what happened, and I was reading stories today about how there would be something set up, wrestler would be happy with it, or they would be fine enough with it, and then Vince would change it 20 minutes beforehand. There's times I was reading that wrestlers would be there to come, like they were supposed to wrestle that night, and they would show up, get all their gear on, 10 minutes to ring time, cut out of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was notorious for doing that. Moxley goes into detail. They always do last-minute changes, and then sometimes he would be unhappy with how a show was looking, and they would restart it from like scratch, like 5 hours before the show. And I don't know. I've always felt that like promo works best when, and I've heard wrestlers say it. The Rock has said this, that essentially the character of The Rock is Dwayne Johnson, his personality turned up to 11. And I think that when you've got guys that can kind of be themselves, that seems to work a lot better than somebody playing a character and it's like everything's written from. Because at the end of the day, these guys are not actors. They're athletes that essentially they're entertained, but they're not like, I don't know, hard way to describe it. Yeah, but they're athletes, kind of like trapeze artists, gymnasts, things like that. I mean, they're athletes who put on like these huge spectacles, and I guess if you can act, it's a bonus, and it would help your cause in the long run. But like if you let these people be themselves, I think that's only beneficial.
See, the thing about wrestling for me is you can have an outstanding match, which is great. But if there's no build up to it, then why do I want to watch it? Wrestling is 95% storyline, 5% wrestling. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to. The thing that made wrestling so good in the mid-late 90s, early 2000s was it was believable. You felt like, you felt like you could relate to these guys, even if it was outrageous, like driving a fucking beer truck to the ring and spraying everybody.
Wait a minute, you've never done that?
It's on the list of things to do, but nope, never done that.
Did it 2 or 3 times. I quit one of my jobs doing that.
I'm gonna need you to actually quit your job and do that.
Hey, if people start supporting a show where I can make a living, I'll do it. Start cutting them checks.
But yeah, it's the promo is the biggest part in the character building.
Well, it's how you get invested in the story. It's like if you believe that character A hates character B, if you believe that, you're invested in it. And I think that's the big problem with WWE is like they are loaded with phenomenal athletes. I think they're some of the best wrestlers in the world and what they can do. But, I mean, like I'll take as an example Ricochet. I think Ricochet is fantastic to watch, super fun to watch. But I don't know who Ricochet is.
Yeah. Don't know what he's about. Don't know who who his rival is. You don't know any of it because they send him out there to now they're just sending him out there to get his ass kicked every week. But, like you said, he's fun to watch. He's a high flyer. He's fast. He may have a great personality. He could probably, maybe he can talk. Maybe he's got great mic skills. We don't fucking know, though.
Mm-hmm. And I think, but that has a lot to do with it. And then the way that they book stuff to where it's like, the thing I like about AEW is the fact that they at least give you the impression that wins and losses matter. It doesn't really matter in WWE at all. It's just like they do this 50-50 booking shit so much, and it's just like I get so frustrated seeing that.
Yeah, I get tired of seeing the same people over and over again. Brock Lesnar, amazing athlete, really good wrestler. Well, he used to be. All he does is fucking suplex people now. It's boring. Used to, man, I went back. I saw highlights of him and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19. Ridiculous. The guy was ridiculously good. And now it's just suplex, F5, match over. It's stupid.
I think this is the best version, character-wise, of Brock Lesnar that he's had since he's been in WWE. I personally love the Cowboy Brock Lesnar.
But do you love the wrestler? Like, does he? Okay, so he's got the promo part down, but then there's that 5% actual in ring. Does that really interest you with what he does?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it because, I mean, essentially, if you really look at it, like, Brock Lesnar is one of those guys where 95% of the roster he should be able to kick the shit out of no problem. And I think he's built up that.
That's not what it's about, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you also, like, well, if you take Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar, for example, Brock Lesnar is going to kick the shit out of Rey Mysterio 95% of the time, or actually 99% of the time.
Right.
But then, like, if you build up Rey Mysterio be this unbeatable underdog, I think it makes Rey Mysterio beating someone like Brock Lesnar that much more enjoyable, that he's able to conquer Goliath. I mean, Brock Lesnar's supposed to be Goliath.
Yeah,
I don't mind Suplex City into the F5. I don't mind that at all because essentially, I mean, no one's going to confuse Brock Lesnar at this point of being AJ Styles.
Right. Which is another guy that I don't understand why he's buried mid-card, but that's a debate for another day. Circling all the way back, like I think ultimately we're excited that Triple H is in this role because he can save the company that we grew up loving. Because it doesn't need saving. It's still made more money than ever last year. But just for, it almost feels like when an artist puts out 3 great albums and then all of a sudden they change up their whole sound. Mm-hmm. That's what WWE feels like.
Well, I think with WWE is I think they've grown, and yeah, they make money hand over fist at this point. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because they're still getting money. But I think that they've grown into that thing where, like, well, we don't have to cater to the hardcore fan because the WWE is, like, synonymous with professional wrestling. If you go ask 20 people, random people in the street, just like, hey, what's name a wrestling company? All 20 of them are going to say the WWE.
Right.
And I think they're just kind of like, they have that brand name like Barnum and Bailey's and, like Disney on Ice, shit like that, to where, like, it could fucking suck, but it's still going to make a shit ton of money because, like, if I want to see the Avengers Ice Capades, Disney on Ice is the only people who are going to be able to do that for me. Or if I want to go to the circus, it's going to be Barnum and Bailey. So,
okay, so piggybacking off that thought real quick. So if they're a name and it doesn't matter, then why would it matter if they did cater to the hardcore audience?
Well, I mean, I think I am of the belief that I think that if the WWE can start getting some of the hardcore fans back, because I think with the WWE, they cater to the casual fan. Like, they cater to their audiences, like, essentially my son's age, my son's 11, and that 11, a little bit younger crowd. But I think that, if you can cater to even some of the hardcores, like if you get like Joe Schmo that's like so anti-WWE, like, oh, fuck Lesnar and Reigns again. I've seen that match before. But I mean, if you start getting
is that really what I sound like?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying that I think that if they can start catering to some of those products, I feel like with wrestling, if you look back at the Attitude Era, even like the Monday Night Wars, like that was the best time of wrestling because WCW was just as good as the WWE.
Right.
And I think if WWE starts putting out a better product that caters to more than just the casual fan, and I think they're starting to go that way because I just seen too they're going to TV 14 now.
That is the rumor, yeah.
No, I think it's legit. I think SmackDown was TV 14 on Friday. If not, it should be starting soon. That's what I've heard and read.
Okay, yeah.
But I think if you start getting in that hardcore crowd, I mean, that's eventually going to lead to more casuals coming in, and then I think that's just going to make the product of professional wrestling in general much better.
Well, I mean, yeah, because if the top company, WWE starts upping its game, AEW has to go that much further and up their game too.
Well, I mean, not only that too is I think that what's that phrase? The rising tides lift the ships.
Yeah.
So I mean, like as an example, I guess it's kind of a bad analogy because I liked it anyways. But during the Attitude Era, you had 3 promotions. You had WWF, WCW, and ECW. I watched all 3 of them. That's because
which I did too. Yeah.
And I think that led to originally it was like I got out of it for a while. Then the NWO stuff started. And I started watching WCW, and then I got interested in what was going on in WWE, and that kind of led me down that rabbit hole of ECW. And then I found myself eventually following all 3 of them. But I mean, if the WWE is putting out a solid product, I don't even want them to be. They don't have to be how they were in the late 90s to the mid 2000s. I mean, if it's just solid, I mean, you used to say like, okay, this isn't bad, but what else is out there? I kind of like this professional wrestling. I mean, but is there anybody out there better? So that might lead somebody to go check out AEW, or if Ring of Honor can ever get a damn TV deal, might lead them to go to Ring of Honor or Impact, who I think is severely underrated. I think their stuff's really good right now, or even NWA. I think it's just going to, like, if people become more interested in professional wrestling, if the hardcores, because, I mean, I'll tell you, when I was in high school, out of my friends, I was, like, the big wrestling fan. And I think me being so passionate about it and loving it so much kind of led my friends who were kind of casuals into watching it, too, because, like, it's like, oh, hey, you got to check out this dude, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's, like, flipping people off and he's swearing on TV. I mean, most people I know watched wrestling as a kid. You would have never in a million years seen Hulk Hogan flip somebody off, tell somebody to kiss his ass, and drink beer on TV. You would have never seen that.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that, I think if the WWE puts out a better product, that's going to lead people to try to discover what else is out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how much time it's going to take, and hopefully they do go down that road. I mean, I don't know these people personally. Just know their personas that they played on TV, Stephanie and Paul Levesque. I think one big missing piece is Dusty Rhodes was responsible for a lot of the great wrestling in NXT, like the promos and the characters. Mm. I don't know. I'm sure there is somebody out there that can be just as good or close to as good, but I don't know that they have that right now, so they need to find that first.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of having like a promo coach. I just think it's like let these men and women be themselves, because I think that's the most effective way to cut a promo is if you believe that's you that's saying this stuff versus because a wrestler is going to know themselves better than they are a character that this is written for from somebody else's perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a wrestler, I mean, would you be able to convey more emotion if it was your words and your feelings, or if I was writing it for you?
Yeah, no, I understand that. If you think about music, for example, the only artist that was ever really able to convey what somebody wrote in such an emotional way was Elton John. Elton John didn't write any of his music, and he's the only one that I can think of that conveyed that level of emotion. So that's one out of billions of artists, I mean, it can be country music fans will probably argue with me because they're all copy and paste writers do all their music for them, but my point still stands. It's a lot harder.
How dare you sully the name of Luke Bryan?
Yeah, and his glittery pants. It's a lot harder to get the emotion out on something that somebody else wrote when you're not, like you said, a professionally trained actor.
Right.
I mean, they do take acting classes with WWE, but that doesn't make you a professional actor. That doesn't make you fucking Tom Cruise,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I agree with you. They need to be more authentic. They don't even have to be Attitude Era. I mean, the chances of them ever drawing in 28 million people on a Monday night they were competing against Monday Night Football, the NBA, baseball. They were competing against all of them and beating them.
Well, I don't think most cable TV, like that whole industry has completely changed. I mean, even from 5 years ago to how it is now. I mean, just the way people watch stuff, it just, unless it's the NFL or like something big, nothing's going to get that many viewers anyway. So,
yeah, true. But I mean, you could still, if you're good enough, you can cut into that. You can cut into that number. So,
I mean, I was thinking too. I got a question for you. Do you think that any of these names that have been released by WWE, do you think you might see some of these guys come back? And if so, I mean, who's like some people you like to see come back?
Well, I definitely would like. I don't know that's going to happen, but I would definitely like to see Sasha Banks come back.
Yeah, I was thinking like, I wonder if and I mean, it's hard to say if like Vince wasn't like the issue on why she walked out. I mean, I guess I know from everything I've read, it had to do with creative, but
yeah, and what's that guy's name? There's a guy that Dunn, last name Dunn, I think.
Oh, Kevin Dunn.
Kevin Dunn, who a few years ago said that Becky Lynch was too ugly to be champion, and the guy looks like a fucking beaver.
He does. He looks like a horse.
So,
like a horse when you see a horse eating an apple.
Yeah,
that's Kevin Dunn.
Becky Lynch is beautiful, and she's an amazing athlete. She's an amazing wrestler. So that he was totally out of bounds with that, and commenting on somebody's looks as far as that goes anyway is ridiculous. Because I mean, you don't have to be the most attractive person to be a great wrestler. Cut a great promo to get people on your side.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't surprise me if he had something to do with Sasha leaving.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised too if he's not going to leave soon anyways, because he was essentially like a Vince McMahon disciple for decades.
He's a yes man.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him be the next one out the door before long.
I'd like to see Bray Wyatt come back. I thought his title run was way too short.
Yeah, considering like he was their top merchandise seller when they let him go. That one still baffles me why he was let go.
From what I understand, it was something to do with his mental health and he needed time off, and there's no time off in that industry. So, I actually wouldn't mind. And this is going to be like a completely out of left field pick, but I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed like the promos and stuff. I'd love to see Enzo and Cass come back. I love their promos. I love their energy. I love their dynamic. It's never going to happen, but that would have been awesome to see them come back.
Well, Big Cass, who's known by W. Morrissey now, he was a wrestler in Impact. Leading up to Double or Nothing, it seems like whenever MJF had a big match for one of the pay-per-views, he made whoever his opponent was going to be run through this gauntlet. He did it with Cody Rhodes, he did it with Jericho, and he did it with Wardlow recently. And one of the guys he brought in was Morrissey to face Wardlow, and I didn't get a chance to watch it, but apparently he looked pretty good against Wardlow. I guess he's been doing pretty good work in Impact. I don't know if he's still signed with them or not. But I know that WWE had been interested in bringing him in after seeing him on Dynamite. In terms of Enzo, like, I don't know, that shtick wore super thin, super fast with me, and the fact that he's not a great wrestler, like he could stay gone as far as I'm concerned.
I enjoyed the promos.
Well, not, like I said, it's one of those things where they were funny and they were fun at first, but then it just, I don't know, to me it just wore thin really fast. I know for me, like, I think Sasha is the obvious choice. She would be the one person if you could bring back, definitely get her back. I think her and Naomi both are really missed right now because, I mean, they had Money in the Bank was one of their top events, and they're rehashing, like, I know Bianca Belair and Becky are fighting again at SummerSlam. You've got Rousey and Liv Morgan as a rematch for SummerSlam, and it would just be nice to get a little bit more variety in that division. I actually would hope, and I don't foresee this happening at all, but I think they really dropped the ball with Killer Cross.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
signed with Impact, I think, though.
I think he's doing stuff with EC3 and Braun Strowman have a promotion called Control Your Narrative. I think he's doing stuff with them. But this guy was like a surefire main event wrestler, and they bring him on to Raw, and he loses to Jeff Hardy, and like he had this really unique entrance. I think him and his valet, Scarlett, I think they're an actual couple off screen, but they didn't bring her into. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. Why?
It's because Vince fucking tinkers with everything, you know? And another one, and this is more recent, they kind of recently buried him, was LA Knight. That guy, he seemed like an asshole, which is perfect for a heel. So you got a heel. He can talk on the mic. He's super athletic. He can do whatever you need him to do in the ring. I'm very hopeful that a lot of the guys that got buried by Vince because they were Triple H people, I'm very hopeful that they get a second run.
Yeah.
Because like you said, NXT was the best era of the last few years. So.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah, it's just a waiting game. We could talk about it forever, but we'll never know until
it actually
happens.
I didn't watch it, but I was following the opening of Raw, and I've seen a lot of positive buzz for how that opening segment went. So hopefully, I'm not expecting it to be completely different overnight, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm very optimistic about the future of the WWE.
Me too.
Creatively, financially, they have nothing to worry about, but
right, and which is, like I said, I see nothing wrong with catering a little bit to the hardcores.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep. I guess we'll find out sooner or later whether things will change for the better. But stepping away from the wrestling world, other big story of the weekend was the San Diego Comic-Con. First time since 2000, I think it's 2019, they actually had people like show up. They were allowing people come in and visit. I personally don't want to go too much into, a lot of the stuff that happened. Primarily our show, we focus on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC stuff, and then movies here or there. But I don't know. Marvel dropped some big news. They dropped the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer, which was fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, that thing really tugs it. I think I've watched that trailer like 3 times now.
It was really good.
They announced that Black Panther, which comes out, was it November the 15th? I know it's like right before
November 11th.
Okay, close enough. Will be the end of Phase 4. Finally putting that limping dog to sleep.
Yeah, right before that we get She-Hulk.
Which trailer looked better than the original one, I will say.
It did, and I'll give it a chance. I don't know, that first trailer really kind of spoiled that show for me a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna give it a chance, but yeah, it spoiled it a little bit for me.
But they gave us everything that's going to happen in Phase 5 with release dates, And they even gave us a sneak peek into what to expect in Phase 6. So, Lucas, I know you told me earlier you had all this stuff written down. So you want to give everybody the rundown on what to expect Marvel coming up?
Yeah, actually, first, so I watched the trailer just like you did, and I was a little confused about what's going to happen in Wakanda Forever because that trailer gave nothing away, really.
Which I think is the smart play.
But they did come out with a synopsis that I would like to read. It doesn't really, it's not super spoilery, but it does give you a little bit of insight into what's happening in the trailer. If you don't mind, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't read the synopsis.
I mean, I don't think, I mean, basically, I just looked at the trailer as kind of gives you, like, you get a glimpse of Namor, the Submariner, who I always loved as a kid. But it just seemed like the trailer was really a celebration of Chadwick Boseman and the T'Challa character, which was a nice touch.
Yeah, the big thing I took away from the synopsis really was that T'Challa is actually dead, which kind of surprised me because Daddy Mark Dyer said that T'Challa never died in the comic books. They never changed him. So it'll be an interesting new path away from the comics. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, you can't really do anything about Chadwick Boseman passing away from cancer, which is awful because he was an amazing actor.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah, in Phase 5, coming up in Phase 5.
Well, I mean, you just stared at me for a second. I think, are you going to read the synopsis or?
Well, I didn't know if you wanted me
to. Oh, yeah, go ahead,
said,
man. You've already let the cat out of the bag. You may as well.
Did I?
A little bit.
I don't think I did.
A little bit. You did a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
All right. In Marvel Studios' Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku Okoye, and Dura Imalje, which I don't know who that is. I don't remember that name. Fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with the help of War Dog Nakia and Everett Ross and forge a new path for the Kingdom of Wakanda.
Okay. Yeah, not really spoilery.
Yeah, so the only real spoiler there is that T'Challa is dead. Maybe we'll find out.
Which is kind of what you... Maybe that's kind of the vibe you got from the trailer, right? When his face is like on like walls and stuff, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if maybe they would make him be missing, quote unquote missing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I actually think it's the right play to have him dead,
right,
in the movies.
Right. I was beginning to wonder when we were going to see anything for this movie too, because I've noticed lately they've been dropping their trailers closer to the time of release versus.
Which I actually have an answer for you as why that is. They are having a lot of turnover with their visual effects studios because they are they're pushing them so hard with like changes towards the end that people are just leaving because they can't deal with the stress of it.
Damn.
They're on such a hard timeline, and something is getting changed right at the end, and these people are working 80 hours a week. Visual effects artists really don't make as much as you think they would.
I'm sure they don't.
They get paid pretty shitty, so a lot of them are leaving.
Come on, Disney, you make enough money. You just raise the prices at Disney World. Pay these people some more money. Give them some fucking time off too.
Yeah, it's like that in these big industries, video game industries. They're starting to unionize now because it was the same treatment with them. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest games that was anticipated, Cyberpunk, ended up being a shit show because the people ran out of time. There was a pandemic going on, and they were still being pressured to get it done, and it fell apart. So that is the reason why the trailers are coming out so late. We were supposed to get a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer, but the visual effects aren't done yet. aren't done enough for James Gunn's liking, I guess.
I know they showed some footage from the movie at Comic-Con.
Yeah,
they showed footage
from
they showed footage from Guardians 3 and then the new Ant-Man movie.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen
they haven't really. I don't think they've leaked yet online. So they should be here soon. So after Wakanda Forever, since that's the final film in the Phase 4, what kicks off Phase 5?
Ant-Man and Quantumania. Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania. And that is February 17th, 2023. Mm-hmm. After that, we get Secret Invasion in spring of 2023.
So I am looking forward to that.
Which Secret Invasion, the main bad guy, I just found out is Doctor Doom in the comics, which I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like I was telling you earlier, I don't think they're going to bring Doctor Doom into the MCU before a Fantastic Four movie, but we'll talk about that later.
Guardians Volume 3 is May 5th, 2023. Echo is summer of 2023.
Spin-off of the Hawkeye show.
Yeah, because she is the niece of...
Kingpin,
thank you. I couldn't think of his name. I had Vincent D'Onofrio in my head. Loki Season 2 is summer of 2023. The Marvels, which I know not a lot of people really like Captain Marvel for one reason or another. I really enjoy Captain Marvel, so I'm looking forward to the Marvels. It comes out July 28th of 2023. The one that you and I are both just fucking stoked about, Blade, November 3rd, 2023.
Oh, I cannot wait for that one.
Yeah, and it's gonna be so good. Ironheart, which I've done a little bit of research to try to understand what that is. I guess it's a younger girl was doing experiments with Tony Stark's tech, and she becomes kind of like an Iron Man character.
As a matter of fact, the actress's name, it totally escapes me, but she's supposed to appear first in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Okay, awesome.
I think you catch a glimpse of her in the trailer.
Nice. That is fall of 2023. There's a new name for the Agatha series coming out, which is a spinoff of WandaVision, and that's coming winter of 2023 or early 2024. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that? Excited? Not excited? What do you think?
I like the character. I mean, I'll give it a shot because I like Catherine Hahn.
So yeah, I like Catherine Hahn.
I'll give it a shot because she's in it.
I'm a forever fan after she hiked her leg up on that urinal.
You could spit in my face, but I would still ask for your autograph right afterward.
Another one that I'm very, very, very excited about. Spring 2024, we're getting, was it 17 episodes or 18? 17 or 18 episodes of a brand new Daredevil series.
That caught me completely off guard, and I was so fucking excited for that. I still haven't finished Daredevil yet for some weird reason, and then they took it off. Like, I started to watch it again, and then they took it off Netflix.
Yeah.
But I love the vibe of that show. I think D'Onofrio as Kingpin is probably one of the best Marvel villains that they've put together. And it's nice that now that they're integrated into the MCU now. So, yeah, I'm super excited for that one.
Yeah, and him making an appearance in Spider-Man was just... I remember we were in that theater, and and Charlie Cox was on there, and that theater erupted. I don't even know what the fuck they said right after that.
See, I wasn't able to go see Spider-Man right away because my daughter had COVID. So I couldn't see Spider-Man. Right. I couldn't see Spider-Man until damn near a month after it had been out. And then I think I seen it in the theater with like 7 people. So it's not the same.
Didn't erupt?
No.
What a bunch of dicks.
I think a couple of people just went in there to sleep and get out of the cold.
So that is spring of 2024.
Charlie Cox, apparently, I didn't catch it because I've only seen the trailer once, is in She-Hulk.
Yes.
He's supposed
He's
to be
actually in his old. I don't know. You know me. I'm so on the comics. I've never really read comics, but he's in apparently his old Daredevil suit, his original from the comics in the trailer. So
okay, not the Ben Affleck Daredevil suit, but like the old comic book though.
Yeah. Ugh, God, that movie's bad.
No, we won't get into that.
After that, we have Captain America: New World Order on May 3rd of 2024.
See, that surprised me. They're giving. I actually like the fact Sam Wilson's Captain America now, but like that, they must be very confident in that movie to give it, because Marvel seems to put like their big hitters as the movie that they have opening the summer, and the fact that they're doing that with Captain America speaks volumes to their confidence in Anthony Mackie.
Yeah. I like him as Captain America. I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier was just kind of eh.
Yeah, that was probably out of the Marvel shows that I've seen all of them but Moon Knight. Well, I haven't watched Miss Marvel yet either, but that one was probably the one I was looking forward to the most, because I like those characters, and Captain America is my favorite Marvel character, so like to have that world come back, I found it to be a little lackluster, but I guess that show underwent like a shit ton of rewrites too. So
you can kind of tell too, really watching it. It never really hit. It was all over the fucking place.
Mm-hmm.
And then one that I had to do research on, and this is closing out Phase 5, was Thunderbolts, coming out July 26th of 2024. So it's almost like they're doing a Sinister Six type thing.
Well, the Thunderbolts are more like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, they're anti-heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Sinister Six are just evil.
Yeah, that's just the name of Spider-Man, like 6 iconic Spider-Man villains. Yeah, they're more like the Suicide Squad, just kind of like a team of like villains, anti-heroes that kind of are brought together for missions for one reason or another. And I think with this one, I'm imagining this has to be tied into some of the characters from the Phase 4 stuff, like Yelena from Black Widow,
mm-hmm.
U.S. Agent from Captain America and the Winter Soldier and Falcon show. And I would imagine Julia Louis-Dreyfus is coming back to kind of be the Amanda Waller character of the team.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it. I know Baron Zemo, who was played by Daniel Bruhl in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He was the villain in Civil War. He leads that team in the comic book series, so I imagine he's coming back as well.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. He was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier too. So
had that really cool dance scene too, which they turned into a meme or a GIF.
So that movie will close out Phase 5.
Okay.
So then we move on to, and all of a sudden they surprise everybody, and they're like, "Oh, hey, by the way, Phase 6."
Mm-hmm.
So Phase 6 will be the end of what they're calling the multiverse saga. Which we know at least one of the big bad villains, but this one almost looks like it has two, if I'm correct about Dr. Doom. But they have several dates laid out. They have fall of 2024 as a movie coming out. Then after that, they have on November 8th of 2024, the Fantastic Four.
Well, the Fantastic Four is supposed to kick off Phase 6 from what I've read.
Well, this one has this is a picture from the actual Comic-Con screen, and they have a movie before Fantastic Four.
Huh. Yeah, everything I read, it was the Fantastic Four supposed to kick it off.
And then they have another one in fall 2024, so maybe it looks like two of them before even the Fantastic Four.
Well, needless to say,
I'll send you the picture.
Needless to say, they they got some open slots, but they announced a Fantastic Four movie, and then they capped it off with
The Avengers.
not one, but two.
Two of them, yep. So on May 2nd of 2025, which seems like forever from now, but the way fucking time flies, it'll be here in no time, you know. We have Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. So we know that Kang is going to be one of the big bads.
Mm-hmm.
And then on November 7th of 2025, we have Avengers: Secret Wars, which the video I sent you earlier, Dr. Doom led the Secret Wars in the comics. So I'm anticipating him, you know, being in there somewhere.
I'm not even going to try to quarterback what the fuck's going to happen between now and then. I just think that's super big news. And I heard this today, too, that Disney does their own convention. I think it's going to be in September.
Okay.
So if they pulled out all the shit, like all this stuff for Comic-Con, makes me wonder what kind of big news they've got lined up for this convention that they put on. I would imagine that they may have, I'm going to guess they're either going to have the Fantastic Four, some news with that, or they're going to announce, I'm spitballing here, maybe the X-Men, maybe they're going to announce Deadpool's going to be in like the Thunderbolts, which would make sense. So
That would make sense, yeah. But he does have his own movie coming, so.
I mean, I guess it'd be a way to introduce him too. But I'm just spitballing. But out of all that stuff that Marvel announced, I mean, what's on your agenda? Like, what are you most excited for?
Well, definitely the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that last Fantastic Four, the first, I forget how long that movie was like an hour and a half or something.
It's closer to 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours. So like an hour and a half of that movie was awesome, and they ruined it all in the last 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still hope for it. I mean, the first three were not great, but look what they did with Spider-Man. I mean, the Amazing Spider-Man movies were shit, and Marvel came in and completely saved that series for me. I think Ant-Man movies are very underrated. I really like Ant-Man movies. I'm excited to watch that. Guardians Volume 3. It's been announced that this is the last time these Guardians are together in this movie. I know that Dave Bautista is quitting after this movie because he says he's getting too old. Which, I mean, he's like, what, almost 60? He's getting close to 60.
I think so, yeah.
So, yeah, he's probably tired of working out all the time.
I just want to let myself go.
Blade. I mean, what more can you say? Was it Mahershala Ali?
Mahershala Ali, yeah. 2-time Academy Award winner.
In a Marvel movie. I mean, he was in one of the Marvel series before he really, I think it was right before he won his Academy Awards.
He was in Luke Cage.
Yeah, that's what it was. Which that series kind of sucks, so it'll be nice for him to kind of...
I actually dug Luke Cage. Out of those Netflix shows, I hated Iron Fist. I thought that show stunk.
Yeah,
and I wasn't a fan of the Defenders either.
Also really bad. And then Jessica Jones season 3 was bleh.
See, like... I never watched Jessica Jones, so I can't really say. Like, I only watched.
It was good for a while.
I watched Iron Fist because my wife was watching it for some weird reason, and she decided to watch the Defenders too. Maybe that's why I hated the Defenders so much, because I didn't really know Luke Cage and Jessica Jones's backstory that well.
That show sucked anyway.
I know for me, like I said this, I think on record a couple weeks ago, that I am very excited for the Fantastic Four. I mean, the Fantastic Four is one of the A+ properties of Marvel. I mean, besides like Captain America, Thor, the Hulk, and Iron Man. Or no, Iron Man's not really was an A property at the time, but like Spider-Man. And the fact that like there's so much cool shit in that. Like that opens up the Silver Surfer. This opens up Galactus. And plus, I think they're overdue to have a good movie because they've made 4 really bad Fantastic Four movies. There's one that was made by notorious B movie director Roger Corman that never seen the light of day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never even heard of that one.
Yeah, check it out. I think you can find the movie on YouTube because it got circulated at conventions and stuff. But yeah, I'm so excited for the Fantastic Four to see hopefully it done right. So that's number 1 on my list. Super pumped to hear about the Daredevil show. They're bringing back Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio as Daredevil and Kingpin. Like I seen that come up. I'm like, okay, yeah, like that would be number 2. Blade number 3, and then probably Guardians number 4. But I'm very optimistic about Marvel's future after what seems to be a very lackluster Phase 4. It seems like at least if you're going off that trailer, it seems like at least Phase 4 is going to end with a bang with Wakanda Forever, and then going into Phase 5, it's just going to get better.
I think with the announcement of the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, I think Phase 4 actually makes a lot more sense, because I think that we've been thinking like, where's the big bad? I think that the big bad has been pulling strings behind the scenes in all of Phase 4, and I think Wakanda Forever. I sent you that video earlier of that podcast where they kind of make an assumption. I don't even know what the podcast is called, so I'm not gonna, steal their thunder or anything. But I think if what they said is true, and that Doctor Doom could make an appearance very soon. Now, you said you don't see it before the Fantastic Four, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's almost like you remember the old Thanos cameo back in the day before he was even really cast, where he was up on his throne and it showed him smiling. Mm-hmm. If they didn't just show like Doctor Doom's helmet somewhere, Right.
Well, I mean, I guess the difference between Thanos versus Doctor Doom is, at least in my eyes, Doctor Doom is kind of synonymous with the Fantastic Four. That would be like if they have never made a Batman movie, or if Batman's been introduced into some whole new thing and then they show the Joker in something besides a Batman movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they did. It's the Joker.
Well, that's not the same. Not the same thing.
Are you sure?
That Joker is like, I don't know what they're doing with that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't foresee them introducing Doctor Doom before he shows up in the Fantastic Four.
Well, I hope he does. Let me ask you a quick question. So I have this picture up from Phase 6, the one from Comic-Con, which I don't think is complete, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of space in there.
Yeah, I don't think you mentioned Ironheart. I don't think that show's coming out sooner rather than later, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's Phase 5.
Is it?
Yeah, fall of 2023. So I've got Phase 6 up here. You've got fall 2024, Fantastic Four in November, fall of 2024, winter of 2024, winter of 2025, spring of 2025, spring of 2025, and then summer of 2025. So looking at the double fall, do you think that we get 2 X-Men movies?
I think Deadpool is in play for one of those spots. Because, I mean, Ryan Reynolds, let's be real, isn't getting any younger. So I think if you're going to do Deadpool, you're going to introduce him into that world.
Still handsome as fuck, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's older than I am, but yet still looks a million times better than I do. But I hope that the X-Men come out at some point, because I think if they're doing an Avengers movie, I think that it would benefit to have at least a couple characters from that universe in it. So, and like I said, I think personally they're going to save an X-Men announcement for the Disney thing coming out, which
it's called what, D23? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I'm actually looking that up right now. So yeah, I think that they'll save an X-Men announcement for that.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. They said they got more to announce in the near future. Looking at Phase 4 versus Phase 5, there is a shit ton more that they announced in Phase 4 than Phase 5.
That
So
D23 is the September 9th, 10th, and 11th.
okay, so I would not be surprised if we get some kind of special secret, maybe I know with the original Avengers movie, or no, with the Infinity War. They called it originally the Infinity Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that was announced at D23.
I think
wasn't
so,
it?
yeah, because the original Avengers, you got the first clip of that at the end of Captain America.
So I think they called it the Infinity Wars. I think that originally, along with when Thor hits onto the Guardian ship when they run into him in space.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure that was originally announced at D23.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think too. Like I personally, I think we'll get the Guardians trailer at that, because I think that gives them enough time to at least get something put together for the Guardians. Probably see some Ant-Man stuff, because they showed Ant-Man footage at Comic-Con, so I think that trailer will be up sooner rather than later. And I think we're going to get a big announcement of either they're bringing the X-Men in, which I think, considering how big of a franchise the X-Men is, I think you save that for a Disney-only event.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, the X-Men coming into the MCU is bigger than a new Avengers movie, bigger than a new, like, a Fantastic Four movie. I think that's the biggest news that Disney could do for the MCU is, hey, the X-Men are coming. Here you go. Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had like a very own special announcement, like separate from D23 for it.
No, I
the
think
X-Men is probably, I mean, before the MCU stuff, like with the cartoon stuff back in the 90s. Yes, 90s kids and obsessed with X-Men because of the cartoon.
I think if they do it, they're going to save it for D23, because it's like, this is like, D23 is a big deal. It's like they even skipped out on Comic-Con to save stuff for that convention. So I don't think the X-Men gets done. I think they'll save it for something like that, because people have traveled from all over the world, paid a shit ton of money to come to this. I mean, you got to make them want to come back next year. So
yeah, true.
Well, I mean, skipping outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC, I was a little disappointed we didn't get anything from the Flash movie, but considering all the trouble that Ezra Miller's in,
that movie may be scrapped.
Oh, dude, like, just keep your shit. I mean, I don't care what they do to Ezra Miller. Like, I personally think they should shit can him, but you're taking away Michael Keaton coming back as Batman from me. Like, I'm so fucking excited for that. And then, like, I keep hearing all this shit that this fucking asshole is doing. And it's just like, dude, come on, man.
It's unfortunate, too, because he was a really good Flash.
Yeah, I dug his take on the Flash. I thought he was a little on the silly side, but, I mean, I kind of dug it. But, yeah, I was more excited the fact that Michael Keaton was coming back as Batman. But we didn't get anything from that, which is not surprising considering, you might want to keep quiet about that movie for a while. But we did get a Black Adam, more footage from that. And we also got the trailer for Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on those?
I don't know. I don't know DC very well at all. But anything The Rock's in is usually pretty good, or at least fun.
Apparently, he dressed up. He showed up at Comic-Con as Black Adam, and I guess apparently his reception was kind of, best way to describe it was lukewarm.
Yeah, he got booed pretty hard because he was talking about Henry Cavill not being Superman anymore.
Yeah.
I've watched the trailer for it. I don't think I'll check it out in theaters, but I'll watch it eventually.
Mm.
Shazam, I actually really, really liked the first one. I thought it was really good, and so I'm pretty excited about Fury of the Gods. I enjoyed the shit out of the first one. I didn't get to watch the trailer or the footage from it yet, because like I told you, my kids were they were something today, so I didn't get a chance to check it out.
That'll be its own special episode. Kids being assholes.
Yeah.
But I watched them both. I wasn't wowed by either one of them, but like I'll probably go see Shazam because I believe that's coming out right before Christmas.
I tried to find a date, and all I found was Christmas, so it may be coming out on Christmas.
Yeah, because I know it got pushed back because Avatar, the sequel to Avatar, got moved into they were supposed to come out the same day, which I think Avatar is like the week before Christmas. So I think they pushed Shazam back to it's Christmas like 23rd, 24th, 25th, somewhere in that neighborhood to avoid.
They may want to push it back. They may want to push it back even more because regardless of what we think about Avatar and all that, James Cameron puts out billion-dollar movies constantly. So.
Well, I mean, I don't think that really would be affected by it because the thing with like the Christmas season is people are, like out of school. Most people are off work. People go to the movies 2, 3, 4 times. I mean, fuck, I know I used to live at the movie theater during my Christmas breaks as a kid. And it's 2-week stretch wise, probably the biggest stretch of the whole year is that Christmas week. So I think they can support 2 big movies. It's happened before. So, I mean, what was that? Last Jedi and Jumanji came out around the same time. Those both end up being super big hits.
Yeah, that's
I think everything else will get swallowed up under its wake. But yeah, I'll go see him, but like typically with DC, I don't get super impressed unless it's something with Batman. It's just the way I am. Like Batman's my favorite comic book character, but I have more favorites in the Marvel universe. So unless it's Batman, I'm kind of like, oh, I'll go check it out, but I'm not like rushing. Like, okay, I got to be there opening day. If it was like Batman, yeah, I would be there opening day. I'm more excited for the Flash movie because Batman's going to be in it than I am just the Flash movie, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, I my problem with DC is it's just too much CGI. It's too much, which sounds crazy because I enjoy CGI. I'm a big video game fan, so a fantasy world is not too foreign to me, but I just think they overdo it with the CGI, and it just like the best thing about the new Batman movie is it felt more real. That's the thing about the Marvel movies in phase 1, 2, and 3 that was so amazing is it felt like anybody could be a superhero. And I think the problem with phase 4 and the DC movies is it's too much fantasy. That's one of the things I enjoyed about Miss Marvel is it's just some normal teenage girl who happens to stumble upon powers. That's why I enjoy it because it's an escape from reality, but it still feels kind of real.
Right. I still need to watch that show.
It's pretty good. It's decent.
Final thing that I want to touch base on with San Diego Comic-Con, one of my favorite movie franchises, arguably the best action franchise that is not a superhero to come down the pike in quite some time. Fast and Furious has a case, but they also showed some footage of John Wick 4 at San Diego Comic-Con, which I'm super fucking excited about, and it looks to be just as awesome as the other 3.
Yes, it does. When he throws that axe and sticks it in that guy's head, instant boner.
Yeah, I sent everybody. I sent we have a group message with it was me and Lucas, our producer Adam, a couple of our friends are in this group chat, and I sent it, and then I was curious to why you never responded to it, and then I guess when I sent the link, it just looks like a YouTube link. It doesn't give you like the picture or anything, which it normally does. But I sent it back to you today, and the biggest thing is what's the Skarsgård kid, Bill. He plays Pennywise in the new It movies. And
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, you said Joe Burrow is the villain in that. So now I've just been I watched it again this afternoon, and I was like, okay, Joe Burrow is the villain.
They need to do a complete reshoot and just have him do the villain, just be the villain.
Yeah, and then Lamar Jackson is like John Wick.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, man. He's the most underrated action star of our time. He's just so good. And he just, when you speak of action stars, unfortunately, he's not one of the first to come out, but he should be.
Hey, I made a case in our John Wick 2 episode when we used to do the movie episodes that I personally think he has a very, very strong case for being the greatest action star of all time.
And I agree with you. But, how many people would agree with us on that?
I think we can build a strong case because I think a lot of his, for all the shit he's made, if you just take Wick, Speed, and Point Break,
those
and the Matrix, yeah. The first one, the other was, I don't know, it's a different story for a different day. But yeah, I mean, just those four, I mean, I will put those up against the best of Arnold, the best of Sly, the best of Bruce Willis, whoever else you have. Just as good, if not better than any of the stuff that those guys have made. So yeah, I think he has a strong case. But I'm super excited for John Wick. I think it's coming out in March too, so it's not too far off.
Yep, March of 23, I believe.
Yeah. But before we wrap this up, is there anything else from Comic-Con that caught your eye? Because, I mean, I basically just pay attention to the movie stuff. I know they dropped some stuff for the Lord of the Rings show. It's coming on Amazon.
Which I've been so busy with my kids, I haven't had time to watch a whole lot of trailers, which sounds crazy. You can't take 2 minutes, but no, my son is climbing on furniture now and falling off of it, so I have to watch him every 5 seconds. So, but I do know, I read that they show how a Balrog is made in the trailer, which that sounds fucking cool. And I'm actually really excited about that series. I know that there's been some hate and some slander because it's kind of doing its own thing. It's not really based off of the books, but
it's not based on Tolkien lore.
Actually, let me tell you about this. Please don't sue us, Fox. Anyway, or Disney now, I guess. But yeah,
Lord of the Rings is a Warner Brothers property.
Yeah, but comic book guy that I tried to imitate is not.
Yeah. No one from Disney's listened to this show. No one listens to this fucking show anyway, so.
That's true.
They also, if I read right, they dropped some footage from the Game of Thrones spinoff. It's coming on HBO here soon.
Which I have zero interest in. That show got so ruined for me with season 8.
Full disclosure, I have not finished Game of Thrones yet.
God, honestly, then you're probably still in a good spot. If you didn't ever finish, or if you didn't even start season 8, then just remember it how it is.
Oh no, I think I'm on season 3.
Just stay there. That's when it was great.
I think that's about all the stuff that really caught my eye from the highlights of Comic-Con. Because, I mean, I know they do a lot of stuff for comic books. They do a lot of TV show stuff. But, like, I primarily just watch it for, like, when the movies that I'm interested in. Oh, yeah, they showed some stuff from the Star Trek Picard show. There's a Dungeons and Dragons movie that's coming out. We should have the guys from the Knights of Degradation podcast on when that comes out. I'm kind of curious to hear their thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they're really interested in it.
They showed apparently they had a screening of the new Predator movie Prey, which comes out in a couple of weeks. I've been hearing some good stuff about that.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. I mean, spinoffs are hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, this is not Comic-Con, but I have zero excitement for that Halloween movie. None, absolutely nothing. It did nothing for me. I know that our friends are very excited about it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm fucking over Halloween. Like the remake or the 2017, the one that everybody loved. Didn't care for it at all.
I don't know you anymore. I have not seen the new trailer yet. I'm kind of curious to see how this one ends. I'm personally a big fan of the 2017 to 18. I loved it. It had a lot of the same spirit as the original Halloween. Now, if you're gonna tell me you didn't like Carpenter's Halloween, I will drive fucking New Carlisle and fight you right now. I don't give a shit if I have to be at work in a few hours. I'm gonna tape my fist up and I'm coming to town.
No, I really love the original Halloween.
Okay, good. Because I don't have any. I'll have to stop and get some of that tape the fighters use to wrap your fist. So it'd probably be an hour before I got there.
I honestly didn't mind Halloween 2 either, the original Halloween 2. I liked it too.
Right. I don't think they showed any footage from those. I know the trailer dropped not too long ago, but I don't know if they showed it at Comic-Con or not.
I just had to squeeze that in there because I'm not excited about it at all.
Right. Well, I know I'll be seeing it because I'm a sucker for those movies. So, anything you want to add before we wrap this up? We went a little long, but that's okay.
No, I just today we had all that news and it was really enjoyable to talk about it with you. Thanks, friend. Thanks, amigo. Appreciate it.
No problem, buddy. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do have to go to bed. I'm getting my flowers as the husband of the year. I'm taking my beloved wife to see the Backstreet Boys tomorrow. So, thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you. Husband of the year right here. Sorry, guys. I'm sucking it up. It was a tough class this year, but I think that stands out. So I'm just wondering if that's like my comeuppance for going to see Pearl Jam with you in September. It's like, oh, you're going to see Pearl Jam, so you're taking me to see the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, and I disappointed you earlier in the week and told you that I like the Backstreet Boys.
All right, gang. Well, that's sour note. We will talk to you guys next Tuesday. Bye, everybody. And that will do it for today's episode. We hope you guys and gals enjoyed what you heard. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to get all the latest show updates. If you did like what you heard today, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. We drop episodes each and every Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on a single episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. So until next Tuesday, we will talk to you guys later.